Luego hacemos las actividades del libro, vemos si podemos hacer un juguetito nuevo para Máximo, a veces ella lo evalúa, cómo está su sentido motriz, qué ha aprendido de nuevo, nuevas palabras, y jugamos un ratito y conversamos.
A mí personalmente también me ayudó mucho a obtener mi licencia a conducir, que era un objetivo que teníamos en cuanto a la familia,
sí.
para poder estar tranquilos, así que encuentro que ha sido fundamental el apoyo.
El objetivo del programa es que las familias estén bien, y que las familias estén bien significa niños felices, niños sanos, y eso en un futuro es adultos sanos y un mundo mejor. Entonces está bueno.
She has made me feel like I'm important and I can go at my own pace, and that's all you need sometimes when you're feeling like you got nobody.
It was helpful to have somebody there kind of holding my hand and guiding me and letting me know this is kind of the normal. It felt like I was becoming a new mom, so it was very interesting and helpful, very, very helpful.
You know, there was that self-conscious part of me, like, will I be accepted even though I'm not perfect?
What I like the most is that she really listens.
The support that she gives me is special because she does it with love, and it's just natural, you know. That's all I could say. It just feels like somebody that I've known since I was little.
You know, I said to Jeanette, Jeanette, you're supposed to be with me for 5 years. Jeanette said, yeah, I know, I'm going to be with you guys for 5 years. That's when I said, well, I guess I can trust her. She's going to be with us for 5 years.
Yo creo que quizás pasó como a la segunda visita o algo así, como que ya nos presentamos formalmente. Y luego ya creo que en la segunda visita estaba como todo más tranquilo, como muy, como que el ambiente era muy familiar. Entonces yo me sentí muy cómoda.
Felt like she cared for Sparrow too, and Sparrow really enjoyed it. Yeah, she knew when Gabby came we were going to be making something or learning something, and she'd instantly start digging through Gabby's bags to find out what activity we were going to do.
Not only did we get the assistance with this program, but we also made a really good friend. I'm happy to call Gabby our friend.
I think the relationship that we've built has been just, she's a part of the family.
For Mendocino County Board of Supervisors annual organizational meeting to order at 9 a.m. We will start with a roll call. Supervisor McGordy.
Here.
Supervisor Mulhern.
Here.
Supervisor Hashak.
Here.
Supervisor Jurdy.
Here.
And Supervisor Williams is absent by prior arrangement. Moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to invite Supervisor Mulhern to lead us in the pledge. Moving on to item number 2, public expression. We invite members of the public to provide comment on items of interest. These are items that are not on the agenda, and each commenter will be limited to 3 minutes.
Good morning, supervisors and the general public. I am Laura Garza Diaz. I am the newly appointed Area Water Quality, Quantity, and Climate Change Advisor for Mendocino and Lake Counties, which is a program under the UC Cooperative Extension and the UC Agriculture and Natural Resources. Some of my experience, I hold a PhD or a doctorate degree in hydrologic sciences from the University of California, Davis. And I have more than 7 years of experience working in watersheds and river basins that go from the local, regional, and binational settings. My research portfolio ranges from water demand and water supply challenges, climate change scenarios, looking at droughts, floods, water quality, and also the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. I printed out some of my research and some of the outreach activities that I've have done in the past, if anyone is interested, and I also have some cards that I will put them right here in case anyone is interested to reach out. And yeah, I mean, I'm really honored to be your hydrologist and your climate change advisor. And I am really looking forward to collaborate with all of you regarding any water challenges that you might have or any water projects that you might think of. And yeah, it's a great time to team up and, you know, build a better, resilient, and more sustainable water future for Mendocino County. Thank you.
Chairman, I have a comment. Well, I guess I'm just glad to see her here.
Good morning. My name is Carl Stenberg. The last time I stood at this podium, I was a veteran service officer of this county. At that time, we were involved in 2 wars. Because of that, the VSO and the veterans of this county were treated with a whole lot more respect than they are being treated right now. Lost my place. Even though we are trying to help a lot of those same folks who were fighting those wars, the respect is gone. I am ashamed of the county government we have before us. The CEO and her staff have been untruthful and sneaky in the move of the VSO office. They have lied to the public and especially to the veterans. I have personally heard lies from our own Board of Supervisors. This move was done without any foresight or planning with the Veteran Service Office. That was made clear at the on-site meeting we had on Thursday at the Public Health Building. They are scrambling for more space for the office. The Ukiah County Supervisor was not even there. The CEO sent some of her staff, and they could not even answer some basic questions on space. A full-time receptionist was promised. We were told that only a 32-hour-a-week receptionist was found. So for 8 hours a week, the front desk would either be empty or a VSR, Veteran Service Representative, would have to do the job. As of now, there's only one of those. The office was already understaffed. To his credit, Supervisor Haschek attended. As we speak, the VSO office is planned to be moved tomorrow. A lot of time for us to prepare for this. Thank you. The office has already been packed. The county was not prepared to make this move and have the VSO office ready to do its job. You are failing our veterans. The subject of storage space was brought up by the Ukiah supervisor. That is ridiculous. There is no real storage space at the existing VSO office. The problem started when the Air Quality Department was informed that they had to move due to money issues. They were in a leased building. So to move this one office, we are now moving a total of 3 offices. No wonder this county is in trouble. This happened to the VSO office during the last budget crunch. I believe that was 2008. We were forced to move from our leased space. We went out on our own and found the building you are now forcing the veterans out of. We inconvenienced no one. At the same time, we lost our OA position, which was promised to be returned. It never was and still is not. I cannot help but wonder if that is the plan with the vacant VSR position. I still know a lot of people in the veteran community throughout the state. I will do my utmost to make sure that all the VSOs and the state CDVAs that I still have relationships with know that this county government treats its vets with hostility and dishonesty. I am requesting that this ill-conceived decision to move the VSO office be halted and put on next month's agenda. Do the right thing. And through my whole speech, I didn't see the CEO look up once. She was doing something else. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Jacob Brown. I'm a candidate for 2nd District Supervisor, a Marine, and a proud Iraq War veteran. I stand before you today not just as a concerned citizen, but as a voice for many veterans who have served our country with honor and pride. We gather here to discuss a matter of great importance to us. The decision to relocate the Veterans Service Office into the Mental Health Building. Apparently we're given 2 options, the Mental Health Building or the Welfare Office. I want to remind the board of the profound sacrifices made by these men and women, the challenges they've faced, both seen and unseen, in their service to our nation. The VSO is not just an office, it is a sanctuary where these heroes come to seek assistance, support, and understanding. It's a place that should reflect our gratitude and respect for these sacrifices. The decision to move the VSO into a space shared with mental health services or welfare offices sends a disheartening message and implies that we, as a community, do not value our veterans enough to provide them with a dedicated space, a space where they can feel honored. It's not just another number in line. This is not about convenience or logistics. It is about dignity and respect. Veterans visiting the VSO office often recount some of their most intense and devastating moments of their lives. They deserve a comfortable, respectful environment, not a cramped and personal space. They should be able to access services in a place that acknowledges their service and valor, not one that adds to the stigma that they already face. It is concerning to note that none of the current Board of Supervisors has served in the military. Perhaps this is why there seems to be a disconnect in the understanding the importance of a dedicated veterans facility. But today we are here to bridge the gap. We are here to remind you of the honor and respect our veterans deserve. We are not asking for grandeur. We are asking for decency. A standalone VSO building complete with a veterans garden, providing not just services, but a sense of community and belonging. This is not just a facility. It is a symbol of our ongoing commitment to those who have bravely served our nation. In conclusion, I urge the members of the board to reconsider their decision. Let us show our veterans that we see them, that we respect them, and we are dedicated to honoring their service in a manner that they rightfully deserve and have earned. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Roger Ham, Vietnam veteran, Willits, California citizen. The issue at hand, the relocation of Veteran Service Office from its current location on Observatory to the Public Health Building on the corner of Dora and Observatory. From my perspective, the proposed relocation is not in the best interest of the county veterans being served by our Veteran Service representatives for the following reasons. Having been at the same location for 15 years, veterans who have availed themselves of VSO services know where to go, at least geographically, to receive the assistance related to VA benefits. The existing location is quasi-separated from the hubbub of other county activities and provides an inviting atmosphere for entering veterans. Although there is one current service representative at the observatory location, there is available office space for a receptionist and an additional service representative, a position that has not been filled. Yes, a cost-cutting measure. Having toured the new location, I question whether there will be adequate room for the full staffing of personnel and an environment for the sharing and documentation of confidential information. I would like to thank Supervisor Haschek for facilitating the facility tour and mediation discussions. I realize that the relocation of county staff is an internal decision, and as a veteran, I can't tell you how to run your railroad. I am concerned with the lack of communication to the veteran service organizations in the county and that it may result in some unintended consequences. Thank you.
Do I have to have signed in before I can speak? Good morning. I'm Don Burgess. I'm a Vietnam veteran and now a Mendocino County resident for 15 years. Had there not been that little house on Observatory, I never would have sought help. It's secluded. I felt like I was in a secure place. I was looking for somebody who would listen, and I found it there. And I've been going back since, and they've helped a tremendous amount. I wouldn't go to just any office in an administrative building. I would not walk down a long hallway and try to find an office somewhere. The things that we feel and the things that my brothers and sisters suffered and are still suffering from, whether it's Agent Orange or PTSD, we just can't share these in a normal environment or a normal office. This little house, I found a friend. I found somebody who cared, somebody who listened. I don't know how many organizations you asked, veterans organizations, before you made this decision, but it would have been good to talk to a veteran and say, thank you for your service. We're listening to you, because this isn't just an office. This is a home away from home where we find a friend who hears us and listens. We prevent suicides that way. We prevent all kinds of consequences in our lives that way, but we don't feel comfortable coming forward in just an office setting. And I'd like to introduce this letter. It's from our American Legion post here in Ukiah. May I do that? That you this decision, we want to continue to receive help there.
Greetings, members of the board. My name is Alice Laura Stenberg. I worked for the County of Mendocino for over 13 years. 10 years of that, I worked at the Veterans Service Office. I am ashamed of the way this county treats its veterans. It's a disgrace. I'm not only referring to this current decision to move the Ukiah Veterans Service Office, but I'm also referring to the snubs by the current administration. For example, forcing the Fort Bragg Veterans Office to close in order to allow for other county or city events to take place in the building. When I was employed with the county, myself, several veterans, and 2 of the Board of Supervisors were part of an ad hoc committee that created a new policy and procedures for the veterans' buildings. Part of this policy entailed not allowing any use of the building that would disrupt business in our office or any other veteran meetings or events. On several occurrences, this policy was disregarded at the Fort Bragg office and we were forced to close, creating a disruption of services for our veterans. Why create a policy and procedure if you're not going to adhere to it? As far as the latest decision regarding the move, decisions were made at higher levels without any regards to our veterans. In fact, I would bet that they were not considered at all. I cannot help but think that this administration has no regard or respect for its veterans. If the main reason for this move is for the storage, as I was told by Supervisor Mulherin, then why not just have air quality control use the garage and put a Connex next to the building in the open field? In doing this, you could still allow the veteran staff to continue the use of the building. The Veterans Service Office has 2 full-time veteran service representatives. Currently, only one is filled, and 1 full-time veteran service officer. They also have a handful of work studies who work in the office daily. Clearly, there is not enough space in this proposed 2 offices at mental health to accommodate all these people. I was told air quality control has 9 to 10 employees who work remotely most of the time. This being the case, it would make more sense to have air quality control move into the proposed offices at mental health. Also, why are you keeping the Ukiah office understaffed, only allowing for 1 full-time representative to handle it all? This is way too much for 1 person. I would hate to see the Ukiah office lose this veteran service representative due to stress. I realize there is a budget crunch and a hiring freeze, but I'm also aware there are exceptions. This would be an exception. Maybe you're unaware, this office saw 1,835 veterans in person and received over 3,000 phone calls for the fiscal year 22-23. The Veterans Service Office brought in over $3 million into Mendocino County veterans' pockets, which they spent locally. The office also brought in over $100,000, to the county, which goes to the general fund. This money should go to a special fund to help keep the office fully staffed. This money is another veteran service possession. Other counties are hiring additional veteran service representatives while this county continues to let our office struggle. This action to me strongly suggests that Mendocino County is not a veteran-friendly county anymore. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for the opportunity to voice my complete opposition to this ill-advised move decision and to request the Board of Supervisors place this matter on a future agenda item for consideration. My name is Don Shanley, and I'm a 50-plus year resident of Mendocino County, as well as a veteran who served as an infantry lieutenant rifle platoon commander in the U.S. Marines from 1967 to 1970. It took me 25 years after I came back from Vietnam to even want to go and check in with the VA. My experience with the local Veterans Service Office was nothing I expected. It was friendly, it was calm, it was welcoming. It wasn't a 10 by 10 cubicle at the end of a drab, dark hall in a mental health building that treated societal casualties. This VSO helped me address the residual effects of a bullet wound I suffered in Quezon, Son, Vietnam in February of '68. The VA's point person was a Mendocino County VS office, where personnel advised, ordered medical evaluations, and established an administrative path forward to obtain VA benefits. I stress how grateful I am for the care and attention of our local Veterans Service Office, the Ukiah VA Clinic, and the San Francisco Veterans Hospital, Fort Miley. I submit that the present 405 Observatory Veterans Service Office location is a critical tool for the accomplishment of the VA mission to assist men and women veterans who have served our nation honorably and are entitled to benefits many vets are reluctant to seek. The pleasant home setting is welcoming and calm. The VSO rep, Michelle Smith, meets veterans in a spacious entry room full of displayed VA benefit literature and posters, listens to their issues, and escorts them into her office with a large window and bright natural light. It is not unusual for Michelle to greet 100 or more vets in a month. These are walk-ins with no appointments. The VA in Washington, D.C. reports that over 75% of initial VA contacts are walk-ins and not scheduled appointments. Cut to the chase here. Today, January 8th, I visited the proposed new location behind a huge sign at the back of a parking lot. Behavioral health and recovery services, alcohol and other drug services, mental health sign at 1120 South Dora. Despite entertainment media hyperbole, veterans are neither societal casualties nor suckers and losers, as our former U.S. president labeled our military wounded and killed. Should a veteran first find this office location, then enters the building, he or she approaches a thick glass window with a small voice cutout and informs the desk person why he or she is there. The veteran is escorted through this door down a hallway to rooms 3, 10, and 11. Two tiny 10 by 10 windowless drab cells with barely room for a desk and a computer station. Certainly no room to maneuver a wheelchair in which veterans often arrive. Once inside the closed door, the closest is not only claustrophobic, but for the service representative, Michelle Smith, there is no security. One way in and out, unlike her current office that supports a back door to another room. Unlike the label on Michelle's desk today, return to storage, let's not do the same with Michelle, the only service rep doing the work of two mandated reps. I understand that Mendocino County doesn't have the funds for additional help one current representative needs, but when I was informed county air quality would take over the observatory vet office location, I was struck speechless, baffled. Burn permits and smoky diesel engines? Today is a burn day, the message machine declares. Whoever made this decision is kidding, I thought. Permission to burn piles of forest slash and vineyard prunings takes precedent over the lives and welfare of combat veterans. Then I decided to be more forgiving and state that in the fog of government bureaucracies, mistakes will occur. Let's not turn our backs on those who served. Thank you for your service shouldn't be a cliche. I respectfully request that you place this decision as a future agenda item so that the general public might be informed and give common sense an opportunity to prevail. Thank you very much.
Sir.
Good morning. My name is Rick Cooper. I'm a 100% disabled veteran due to combat wounds in Vietnam. I rely on our veteran service officer. I spent almost a year and a half under evaluation by a psychiatrist for PTSD. For me to walk into that building is going to cause some serious issues for me. What this group is doing, I consider a slap in the face to our veterans, and I am totally opposed to what you're trying to do. Thank you.
Good morning, Carrie Shattuck. I support our veterans. I was contacted by someone regarding this move, and this is another unthought out plan. I mean, when we were looking at moving different offices around, one of the juvenile houses was being closed because we needed more space. We really need to think these things through in our county. If just the CEO is making these decisions, then the board needs to be more involved in these decisions. Thank you.
Good morning, board. My name is Joseph Gallagher. I'm coming here as a private citizen. And to be honest, when I first heard that you guys were going to be moving the VSO, I thought this was a move. This must come from the federal government, because this is the only way I would see as a local government would fail our veterans. The only reason you guys should move the VSO is for a better facility. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Kennedy Cooper. I've lived in this county for 30 years. I grew up in Brook Trails, lived in Willits, went to high school here in Ukiah, went to Mendocino College, enlisted out of Ukiah, and ultimately came back here after I was disabled from service. I've served in Iraq, Afghanistan, I've served in Kuwait, I've served in Korea, I've served in places that I'm not allowed to say. Ultimately, when it comes to being a veteran, what I've been told the most is it's not that I can and others can't, it's that I did and others didn't. I claim the next 2 minutes and 20 seconds in silence for memorial of all the veterans that have lost their lives. Thank you.
I'm Priscilla Tarver. I'm with IHSS, but I'm going to speak up for these vets because I'm also an outreach worker, and I work a lot with the vets, and thank you. Thank you. I have 2 in my home. One needs 24-hour care. Yes, I know Michelle. I see her a million times with different people besides my family members. I don't know what's the matter with you people. You guys are like the worst board of supervisors to date. I don't know where your hearts are at, but I also want to let you know you're speaking English because of them. I guess you might not have known that, but now I'm going to let you know that. And why do you need to move an office for storage? They need that calm environment. I have one in my home that has to have 24-hour care. That needs a calm environment. He can't go to a place that's all in disarray. And I picked up on a point that said, that this man said about losing your lives. Well, some of these people have lost their lives and they're still walking in here. Losing your life doesn't always mean you're dead. It also means you've been impacted to the point where your quality of life is like gone. And if there's only one of you here that keeps helping and showing up now and then, John, then a bunch of you need to learn something out of this. You sit up there and you sit up there. I don't even know if you really care about what anybody is saying to you. But right now I'm really mad because I'm listening to them. And I know what it takes. I have to care for them in my home 24 hours a day, mentally and physically. I'm ashamed of you. We trusted you, and this is what you do? You know, let them have their space. Don't put it on next month's agenda, just don't move. They need that environment to stay calm. That man who said he can't walk through an environment like that, why do you put them in mental health? I work with mental health clients too. I know what can happen. And even the fact that they have this one place where Michelle sits day after day, all by herself, and helps these people. And she's a wonderful person. If none of you know her, you know, none of you have walked in the shoes. None of you have walked in the shoes of a lot of the people that come to you, but you sit up here all pious, and I'm so ashamed of you guys. And I'm just sad that you don't actually take what anybody says to heart. You go home and it's just a wash. And it shows that that's how you are, because everybody's in here appealing to you. You need to let them have that building, because that's a calm environment that keeps people's headspace sane. You don't have those problems. You don't understand. But you need to hear and have some kind of empathy. You need to figure this out. Figure it out.
Good morning. My name is Barry Vogel. I've been living in this county for 50 years. I practiced law all but the last 5 years. I'm familiar with your rules. You can vote here now today to make this a special issue and hear it today. It takes a vote of you. It takes one of you to speak up for what is right. And if you're silent, we know where you stand.
So I'm also here supporting the IHSS, but I just cannot keep it quiet. Cesar Chavez once said in his prayer, "Show me the suffering of the most unfortunate, so I know my people's plight." I have lived and walked that walk ever since I've learned the prayer. Where is pride? I'm listening to these vets, and there's no doubt that there's certain groups in Mendocino County and across the whole state that are very problematic, especially here in this county. The vets seems to be one of them. And it's a shame. It's a shame that we are losing moral in this county. And it's a shame that these folks, okay, were categorized as heroes before. But I guess it only happens when they die. It's a big shame. Our providers, IHSS providers, care for a ton of vets in the county. You just heard it. And it's a shame, it's a big shame that you guys want to move them out of their place. Just like Cesar Chavez said, I guess if you've never been there, you don't know what it's like. I think it's time that you walk the walk. Keep something else in mind. I don't know how many of you guys have actually gone out in the community and interview the homeless folks. You know how many vets are homeless? Put that on your list to do. Thank you very much.
Morning. Cesar Alvarado with Caregivers Union. As you can see, caregivers are people that care, right? Don't know what to say. It was very emotional. I have some information for you. We met with the negotiators yesterday. We share some of that information plus more. What we're trying to do is to give you the tools that way you are informed and aware on how the program is funded, and try to help you help us. We actually did some numbers. We presented some numbers yesterday, and my understanding is that you are meeting with negotiators tomorrow. So we expect that you are, do what you're elected to, work for the better of the county. By that means increasing wages for caregivers. Don't need to remind you, but minimum wage for fast food restaurant workers go up April 1st by $20 an hour. And we're going to have a very hard time trying to get caregivers if we're not paying close to that or more than that in Mendocino County. Again, we'll hope that tomorrow you guys are meeting and look at our documents and we come up with a decent contract that improve the lives of caregivers in Mendocino County. Otherwise, we'll be coming back until we get a decent contract with livable wages for caregivers. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to represent IHSS. I'm going to remind you of your mission statement. I looked this up last night. It's to create and maintain a responsive and responsible government that enhances the quality of life of the people of Mendocino County. The county's mission is to deliver services that meet public safety, health, social, cultural, education, transportation, economic, and environmental needs of our communities. I just think you guys better read this and learn it again, because it doesn't seem like you remember it. Principles of your office. There are 12, but I'm going to enhance only 3. Working in harmony to support the county's mission. Devote time and thought and study to their duties as board members so they may render effective, credible public service for the citizens of the county and represent the entire county of Mendocino while being sensitive to special characteristics of each district. Special characteristics of each district. That I want to make the IHSS community as a special characteristic. Who take care of people who have vulnerable lives. They enhance the quality of their lives because they can keep them safe in their homes. They perform your mission statement. They keep public safety because they keep these people safe in their homes or wherever they're out of their homes. They attend to their health needs. They do their social contacts because they're there. Yes, they're a provider, but they're also maybe sometimes the only company that person sees. Yes, cultural, because they also adhere to the cultural needs. We have a diverse community, you know? I mean, you might go to, I don't care if this is politically correct. You might go to a white person's house, he eats macaroni and cheese, but you go to a Hispanic's house, they eat tamales. You go to a black person's house and they eat greens. Okay, that's cultural stuff, okay? I'm Puerto Rican and Hawaiian. I eat pasteles, okay? You don't know what that is. Okay, education. Some of these people are illiterate. Some of them have lost the ability to retain information, so the caregiver provides that tool. Transportation, they take them to the doctors, they take them shopping, or whatever other needs they may have. Economic. The economic status that they are in is the fact that they have a care provider because they qualify financially, okay? Environmental needs, that can be the way I look at it, and whatever, take it the way you want, their immediate environment. And even though IHSS is a task-oriented position, many of these workers will do things like rake the leaves, pick up the garbage, change the cat litter, because who else is going to do it? Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. And you cannot just say everybody can go into a skilled nursing facility. There are eligibility requirements, and it is not cost effective. Secondly, I know that you guys have been sitting there saying, we're going to wait for the state to pick up the IHSS stuff because we don't want to do it. Well, shame on you, you know? I don't wish bad on any of you, but what I do wish is that for once, whenever you said, a long time ago we were in here, we said, will somebody walk in our shoes? None of you ever have. You may have taken care of somebody, but you have not walked in the shoes of an IHSS worker. Nobody ever contacted us to say they would do it, but I would actually challenge you to spend the night in a skilled nursing facility. You know, you think that everybody can go there? I bet you'd go crazy in one night because you're too used to your comfort. You need to think about other people besides yourselves. You need to think about the people who uphold this community, who put you in the seat you're sitting in. I'm just appalled that we trusted you, that we supported you. And then, like somebody said earlier in the veterans group, a slap in the face. That's the way we all feel right now. You know, I don't know if any of you have any kind of feeling heart anymore to go home and reanalyze yourselves and say to yourself, you know what? Hey, I made a mistake. I got to look at things a little differently. You have a lot on your plate. We have a lot on our plates. Just consider that. You know, people need a living wage. Your wages are more than twice the amount of a caregiver's wage. Okay, I looked that up last night too. And yet, we still have to buy the same loaf of bread and put the same gas in our cars. So we have less to work with. Think about it.
I am back as an IHSS advocate. And I just want to say, folks, everyone, please pay attention to our board when we are speaking to them. And let's remember, elections are coming up. And those that are on their computers, those that are on the phone, let's keep that in mind because it's going in one ear and out the other. Yes, I am from Lake County, and we came to support our neighbors here in Mendocino County. Having said that, I want to remind you that we're going to keep an eye because whatever happens here in Mendocino County will have an effect in Lake County. Having said that, Cesar and our other member already explained to you our needs and wants. Again, we hope you guys do the right thing because we are neighbor counties and we will be back. Thank you.
Good morning, supervisors, and appreciated all your events as well. I'd like to be in support of all the others. Thank you. Yeah. And I appreciate the time and be able to speak to the supervisors and the general public. We certainly do need you to reconsider this move. This has been suggested by several of our folks that you could postpone this event even 30 days, 60 days, whatever it takes. You're going to do, I know, what you feel like you should do. But I certainly would encourage you to rethink this proposed move again, reconsider before making this change. Can't say how valuable it was to me. Help and aid of the VSO dealing with the VA paperwork and all the requirements. That was for myself, but also in casually visiting with other vets, you know, to see the problems they were feeling, not just seeing and giving voice to. So please help us take the proper thoughts and energy into instead of rancor, to allow us to be supported by the VSO. It's extremely important to be in a safe, warm area. We do have Brian here. That's not good. I want to be a big boy. Anyway, thank you very much for for listening, advisors. And again, my heart goes out to all the vets. I'm a veteran as well from 60s. So I certainly thank again for the service that VSOs provided back when there was funding and so on. And thank you very much for reconsidering this. You were able to take it to much.
Sir, can we get your name for the record? Last call for public expression in the room. All right, and we have none online. So with that, if there are no comments, we will move on to the consent calendar. I would like to state that proper notice has been established. And I'd like to ask if there are any items that the supervisors would like to pull for separate consideration.
Well, I'd just like to make or see if, I see Dr. Miller in the audience, and she's the director of the behavioral health and the facility where the Veteran Services Office is being moved. So I guess I would like to, if you have any comments about how we can make that a more inviting environment for the veterans, which we talked about on Thursday.
Good morning, Dr. Janine Miller, Behavioral Health Director and Public Health Director for Mendocino County. We did meet on Thursday to talk about how to make the space more amenable for our vets. We did hear some of their displeasure with moving. I understand that they're not happy with giving up the house. We are willing to work with that space. I do want to make it clear that that is the public health side of the building. I'm a little disheartened to hear some of the stigma regarding mental health that came out today. As a family member of vets that have served our country, we lost a family member in Vietnam at the age of 19. He was there 6 months. And as a family member of those with mental illness, it's a little bit hard for me to hear the stigma related to mental illness. That facility is a behavioral health facility, and actually we don't actually serve mental health clients at that facility. As we all know, we contract out most of our mental health services. However, that is the administration, mainly the administration for mental health, and we do have substance use treatment at that facility. And the side being looked at is the public health side of the building. We are opening up to, we cleared out a reception so that the reception that used to be the public health reception would be available for vets so that they would have their own private entrance, minus that WIC clients do go through that, but they have their own reception in that area. We were looking at how we could add maybe a mural to that area, we took everything off the walls so that they could post all of anything that they would like to post, pictures, flags, all the different things that would make it feeling more comfortable for them. So we have cleared the area. We also were asked whether we could come up with a third office. We said that that was something we could definitely look at if that was needed for that facility. We asked, there was conversations about could we bring a couch in, and yes, of course, we're willing to do whatever we need to make that facility feel more welcoming. And we talked about changing the signage so that it was clear that that was the vet side of the building and that behavioral health and public health are on the center side of the building and more to the right side of the building. There's also a beautiful courtyard right next to where the offices are that we agreed to, that they would have access to. A question was, could that be specifically for the vets? And we're fine with that. There's another courtyard that the staff can use, and whether or not the vegetable gardens could be brought in. And of course, we would support all of that. We're willing to make the building meet their needs as best we can. I do hear their concerns, so I don't want to ignore their concerns about their space they're currently in. But I do want to acknowledge that we're willing to do the best we can to make the building less of a government building and more comfortable for the vets, and are willing to try to work with whatever is needed to make that part of the building feel less like a government building. There was a request that could we remove the glass from the reception area. I do believe that Director Emery was looking into that, and that would be something that could be removed to take the glassing down so that it was more open in the reception area. Have any other questions or anything else?
No, I appreciate those comments, and I have had some discussions with community groups about supporting this move and donating things that would make it more, if we're doing a mural or patio furniture or whatever is needed to make it a more homey environment, conducive to the needs of the veterans. So we're working on that too. Thank you for those comments.
All right.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Is there any public comment on any items on the consent calendar, either in the room or on Zoom? Seeing none on Zoom and none in the room, so with that, we will vote by the button. Okay, so just to clarify, we'll do a roll call vote. Supervisor McGorty?
Yes.
Supervisor Mulhern? Supervisor Hashak?
Yes.
Supervisor Jurdy?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on to item number 4A, discussion and possible action, including election of chair and vice chair of the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors for calendar year 2024.
Per the rotation that we have on the board, I'd like to move to nominate Supervisor Mulhern as chair and Supervisor Hashak as vice chair.
I'll second.
All right, let's try voting by the button one more time.
If I may suggest calling for
comment?
public comment.
Seeing none in the room and none on Zoom. Everybody voted? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll move on to item 4B, discussion and possible action, including adoption of the 2024 Board of Supervisors Master Meeting Calendar. Are there any board questions or comments? I'm going to just do to each of you, checking in before we open it up for public comment. So Supervisor McGorty, any questions on the calendar?
I just move the recommended action.
Thank you. A second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Just,
Supervisor Jurdy, do you
yeah,
have
just a
any
comment.
questions?
Because we're kind of shifting from Monday, Tuesday meetings to Tuesday, Wednesday meetings. I began the process of informing the boards that I serve on that meet on Wednesdays to say that at the request of clerk of the board, and I won't be here in 2025, but I think it's helpful if the boards that we serve on that meet on Wednesdays, if in 2025 they could schedule their calendar so they either meet on a Monday or a Thursday or a Friday. So I've started that process with the two boards that I serve on that meet on Wednesdays, and I'm just saying that practice I think would be good for all of us in 2024 to be advising our boards that in 2025 it would be best practice if they can meet on a Monday, Thursday, or Friday.
Thank you. Is there any public comment in the room regarding the calendar? And seeing none on Zoom, if we could vote by the button. Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 4C, discussion and possible action, including adoption of resolution adopting the Board of Supervisors rules of procedure. Are there any supervisors with questions on the updated rules of procedure?
I move the recommended action.
I have a motion, and I do see one pen from Supervisor Hashak.
Well, I'll second the motion, but I'd like to make some comments. So, as a former teacher, that in the classroom, if you had rules, you had to have the students follow the rules. If you didn't want to follow the rules, you got rid of the rules. And so there's just a few things in the rules and procedures that I'd like to go over. One is, Rule 29, which is all committees shall report to the board following each meeting. I don't think we do that regularly, and I think it's important for the public to know what's going on with all the committees, the ad hoc committees, standing committees, whatever. And so we have it in our rules that we're supposed to make those reports. I'd like to see that happen. Okay. The other one is, well, that's Rule 29 and also Rule 31. Rule 19 is that we're supposed to address the chair directly before we speak. And I think that we've gotten a little lax on that. I'd like to see us go back to that model of speaking through the chair when our time is, when we're called upon.
Okay.
And the last one, it says, no emails or cell phones that we're to use during meetings. And so I just wanted to reiterate that that is one of our rules, and I'd like to see us uphold it.
Okay, for that. So there is a motion and a second. I invite public comment on the rules of procedure. Seeing none in the room and seeing none online, could we have a vote by the button?
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 4D, discussion and possible action including appointment of standing committee members pursuant to historical practice and adoption of resolution regarding board of standing committees for 2024. And I'd like to note that the resolution was amended Monday, January 8th, to remove the reference to the disbanded Public Health, Safety, and Resources Committee. And if approved, this would be approved as amended.
I move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on this item? None in the room and none on Zoom. Vote by the button, please.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 4E, discussion and possible action including approval of board special assignments, appointments as recommended by the chair of the board.
I move recommended action.
Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on this item? Seeing none in the room and seeing none on Zoom, vote by the button, please.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. I would like to move on to agenda item 4F, the discussion and possible action including adoption of a resolution and approval of a memorandum of understanding between the County of Mendocino and the Mendocino County Law Enforcement Management Association for the term of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026. And it seems as though our Deputy CEO, Sherry Johnson, has come to the podium in case that there are any questions from members of the board.
Yes, good morning, Board. Sherry Johnson, Deputy CEO. So the Board of Supervisors negotiating team has met with representatives from the Mendocino County Law Enforcement Management Association and have reached an agreement regarding the appropriate terms and conditions of employment for the term of July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2026. The proposed changes to the Memorandum of Understanding include increases in wages in fiscal year 23-24, which would bring the unit to 100% of market, which includes total compensation, which is benefits and salary, and cost of living increases in fiscal year 24-25 and year 25-26. I'd like to thank Lieutenant Porter and Chief DA Investigator Andy Alvarado for working together to come to this agreement, and always so easy to work with. Their professionalism. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Jordy.
Yeah, so Sherry, and people here, I intend to vote for these contracts, this one included, and but I do want to just put in context. 4 years ago, the Board of Supervisors took a great leap forward in attempting to move county employee salaries as far upward as possible, and in the context of the existing contracts that we had then and have today, the contracts reference 6 counties and 2 cities. The median household community member income in those communities is 33% higher than they are in Mendocino County. So you could say that the tax base in those communities are higher than they are in Mendocino County. So to try to move as close as possible to the salaries on average within those communities with the government agencies is a pretty big leap. for this county to do, given they have a bigger tax base than the other agencies, the other communities. And 4 years ago, we tried to bring the county employees to 90% of that average and 95% if they were paid primarily out of state or federal sources. This contract, we're going even farther. We're moving employees to 100% of the average within those 6 counties and 2 cities. And I predict that we will be able to balance the budget in the short run, but in the long run, it won't be sustainable because the kinds of cuts that will be needed to pay these higher salaries won't be sustainable. The community won't accept the cuts. So I believe in the long run that what will have to happen between now and the next contracts is we'll have to reset what is the comparable salaries for Mendocino County employees. I think rather than looking at eight communities where the salaries of the community members are 33% higher than Mendocino County, we should look more closely to home, look to Sonoma, Lake, and Humboldt, where the median household income is about 18% above Mendocino County. Still higher, but not 33% higher. And I think if that was done between now and the next contract negotiations, I think that level of parity would be more achievable and more sustainable by this organization. I predict over time that we will see greater cuts in services than the public is willing to sustain with the current contracts that we have if they were to continue on 2 and 3 years down the road.
Thank you for that. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on this item?
Good morning, Board. Lieutenant Andy Porter. I'm the representative from McLima. I just want to thank the board for the last 2 contracts, the way, not the contracts themselves, but the way they've come about. Working with Deputy CEO Sherry Johnson and her team, I think, and removing the outside contract attorneys, it saves the county money, and it also, I think, helps to garner goodwill between us and the county itself. Thank you very much.
Seeing no other members of the public come forward and seeing no members online, I would just be looking for a motion for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. If we could vote by the button.
Motion carries unanimously.
Instead of moving on to item 4G, I am going to move to item 4H, discussion and possible action, including referral of continued development of the 2024 legislative platform to the General Government Standing Committee pursuant to the Board of Supervisors Rules of Procedure. Supervisor McGordy?
I would just like a discussion for the rationale for the public so they can understand what we're thinking.
This is a recurring item. Every year, the General Government Committee is the one that is responsible for beginning the legislative platform and then updating it throughout the year. So this is traditionally the way that we handle the legislative platform.
Okay.
Supervisor Hashek?
Yes, I received some communication about, people thinking what was going on here because it's scheduled to go for the General Government Committee on the 24th at 9 o'clock. And so that will be the first item there. If people are interested in providing any kind of input into that, they can look at the what's the existing legislative platform for 2023. And, there will be some edits to it, updated, and that will come in on the 24th, and then the process will be the General Government Committee will recommend, a draft to the board, and that will probably come in February.
Thank you for that explanation. Seeing no additional questions or comments from the board, are there any members of the public that wish to comment on this item? And seeing no one come forward.
Then I move the recommended action.
Thank you.
Second.
Vote by the button, please.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. There's been a new item added to the agenda, and it is the discussion and possible action, including acceptance of informational reports from the assessor, clerk recorder, registrar of voters, the acting auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector, the district attorney, the sheriff, and various county department heads or designees. This item is new. There is a process within which these individuals could let the CEO and the chair know that they'd be coming forward to speak. We only have one elected official in the room, so I'd just be offering an invitation to the podium if you have anything that you'd like to share with us today.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. This morning, we've got about a week left of Under Sheriff Brewster's time with Mendocino County Sheriff's Office, and he's going to be severely missed. He gave us about 34 years of his life, and he was a good partner to me my entire career. I was able to find a replacement for Darren as he goes off into retirement. Lieutenant John Magnan has served me well in the Mendocino County Jail, and prior to that, he worked in our custody division, also in bailiffs. Prior to his employment with Mendocino County, Lieutenant Magnan served in the Riverside County Sheriff's Office after serving 12 years in the United States Air Force as an air policeman. And so he's got about 40 years of experience. Lieutenant Magnan will be the undersheriff beginning on January 22nd. We will swear him in. Lieutenant Magnan will take over basically the budgets, professional standards, and various other locations where the undersheriff serves. And I'd like to give him just a couple of minutes to talk about his experiences in law enforcement.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. I welcome the challenge. It wasn't what I expected about 15 months ago when I hired on as part-time. Realized I was not a plumber or carpenter, and I live on the coast. So I decided law enforcement has always been my calling. I love the job. I am good at managing. So this opportunity, what I like about this department compared to my old department, I know a name with a face. My old department, I knew faces, but I didn't know names. So I like the smallness of this county department. I think we can work well together. I'm looking forward to the opportunity of working.
Lieutenant Magnan served in a similar capacity where he was basically the second in command for a contract police department in Riverside County of about 100,000 people. And so there's a lot of similarities in his working as the assistant chief down there for several years and working with Mendocino County, including basically the population, the size of the budget, understanding the budgeting, and understanding some of the challenges and the ruralness of our county. And I think that we were very, very lucky to have this young fella show up after his retirement, and he lives currently just outside of Elk. And I think that we got very lucky when he decided he wanted to find the most beautiful place on earth to live in for the remainder of his career and his life here. And thank goodness he found Mendocino County. It's been very good for us. Anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you very much. Supervisor Hashek, did you comment?
Yeah, just welcome, and I'd really like to thank Under Sheriff Brewster for his service.
Well, strangely enough, I asked him if he'd hang around for 5 more years, and he told me, we've been partners for 34 years, but I've been married for quite a while too, and I'm afraid I love my wife a little more than you right now. So I think it was a good choice on his part. He's going out on his feet after many, many years of service to our county. And he's looking forward to being a grandfather and, doing those things that we kind of defer off while we're still climbing mountains. And so just really thrilled for him. I think and he's got a beautiful place in Las Vegas that I imagine I'm going to be visiting him. So I think that it's going to be great for all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, he'll certainly be missed.
Thank you. Supervisor McGordy?
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome Lieutenant Magnan and congratulations to Sheriff for finding a suitable staff member, because I know that's a challenge. And goodbye to Under Sheriff Brewster. We appreciated his time in service, and I hope he learns to live indoors for 3 months out of the year, because I lived in Vegas. It gets hot there.
Thank you both for coming. On the board's consent calendar was a proclamation for Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and we certainly appreciate all of the work that you all do for us. So thank you so much.
Well, luckily in Mendocino County, I think that my deputies feel appreciated every day, and it's not only by this board. And I know that the deputies do feel appreciated by the Board of Supervisors, but it's also by the residents in our community. It's by the media. We have a very good working relationship with our media, good people helping us to get messages out during time of emergencies. And, you know, the media does a couple of things for us. They keep us honest, and they help us to own our mistakes, but they also help us celebrate when we do things well. And I think these rural communities and these smaller counties, we do it better than other places because we don't have enough to go around, and we don't have the luxury of not getting along. And I think that it's really important that we continue down this road of working together and serving the public. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. I do not believe that we have any other presentations for this item, so I will be moving back to item 4G. Discussion and possible action, including adoption of a resolution and approval of memorandum of understanding between the County of Mendocino and the Service Employees International Union Local 1021 for the term of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026. Deputy CEO Sherry Johnson.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board, Deputy CEO Sherry Johnson. And I do want to say that I do want to thank Under Sheriff Brewster for his service, and I will miss him, and I know the county will too. So thank you, Under Sheriff. The Board of Supervisors negotiating team has met with representatives from SEIU Local 1021 and have reached an agreement regarding the appropriate terms and conditions of employment for the term of July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2026. The proposed changes to the MOU include a cost of living increase for fiscal year 23-24 and bring in wages to market total compensation over 2 years, fiscal year 24-25 and fiscal year 25-26. I want to thank the negotiating team from SEIU. It is a tough process, and I appreciate the work at the table, the work that we did together at the table, and their professional kindness. So thank you, Jackie, Leaf, Teresa, Tracy, Patrick.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and, Supervisor Hashak, did you have a question or a comment?
Well, I'm just very glad that we're at this point where we have a tentative agreement to approve. And so, you know, it's been a long road, and I think it's a place where I believe that the county can afford, and it rightfully respects the good work that the employees are doing.
Thank you for that. Supervisor McGordy?
I'm pleased to see us got a contract together, and I know it's hard for everybody given our budget situations, but I just want the workers to know we really respect and appreciate what they do, and we're trying really hard to make this all work, which is very difficult at the moment, and we continue to recognize the importance of our partnership, and I'm glad that we were able to reach a suitable agreement. And with that, I move the recommended action.
Supervisor Jardy?
So I'll just comment, as I said earlier, I do believe the county can afford this in the short run because we're going to make a bunch of cuts. And it's not because we can afford it with the staffing level that we have now. We have 1,150 employees or so. We're going to have fewer than 1,150 employees or so to pay for these contracts. And I predict that 3-4 years down the road, that level of cut in services and cutting costs won't be sustainable. And so in the long run, I think these contracts will have to be aligned with a different set of counties. I think the logical ones would be Humboldt, Lake, and Sonoma, where the median household income in the local tax base is 18% higher than Mendocino County, not 33% higher than Mendocino County. This ties us to urban and suburban counties like Napa, Yolo, Nevada, and that have a much higher tax base, a much higher income level in the community. So I'll support this because I think it's the right thing to do at this point, but I don't think it's sustainable in the long run.
Thank you for your comments. I would like to open it for public comment in the room. Oh,
Chair,
please,
may
yeah,
I
you
say
have something
one?
to add?
Yeah, I do want to not thank also the county team too that works behind the scenes. So I just wanted to acknowledge the others in the departments that help with these contracts, and of course CEO Antle, Cal, Say Turn, Amanda Tyrell, Brandy Dezell, William Shirt, Sarah Pearson, Tim Hallman, all have also been a great asset to the team. And also, there's also implementation. So after the contracts are approved, we have a team that also implements the changes in the agreement. So I want to thank County Payroll, Sylvia Lee and Connie, and Mary Logan in HR. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hashak. Did you have a question or a comment?
Well, another comment, but was that a second from Supervisor Jurdy on the motion?
He did not second, but you're welcome to. if you'd like.
Okay, I'll second. And I'd just like to thank Sherry Johnson, Deputy CEO. It's certainly, and the whole team from the county, it's certainly better than having, the outside lawyers involved. She stepped up and really represented the county well.
Thank you. Public comment in the room.
Public comment was missed on 4I, so I'm public commenting on 4I. With the ongoing item, I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors for adding that any, department head can come and speak, and we can get an update and actually have a discussion without, it being so limited. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Chair Mulherin, members of the board, CEO Antle, County Council Curtis. My name is Patrick Hickey, Field Representative with SEIU 1021. I'm here today to ask for your support for the tentative agreement for a new MOU with your employees in 1021. While it falls far short of what the hardworking county workers deserve, it does move them forward. The county's current economic difficulties certainly suggest budgeting carefully, but it is essential for the county to maintain a strong and experienced team to carry out the vital work done by departments from Walala to Covelo. Negotiations, which lasted over 10 months, were unnecessarily contentious. The primary reason for this was the lack of financial information available for negotiations. The board, county employees, and county residents deserve to have a timely, clear, and transparent picture of the county's fiscal position and whether it's meeting its budget targets. Throughout the negotiations, the previous 2 years of the county's finances were a black hole. The board should make sure it never finds itself in this situation again. People choose public employment because they're committed to public service. Our goal throughout the negotiations has been to make this possible by making sure employees can make ends meet. While this contract moves employees forward, it does not keep pace with inflation. The county needs to increase its focus on revenue collection and stop leaving county revenues uncollected. Less talk and hand-wringing and more action is what is needed. We know that the board is focused on this and making hard decisions to get the county on track. While you do this, we urge you to listen to your staff. They know what works, where there is room for belt tightening, and what changes will be counterproductive. We're eagerly awaiting the report from the State Auditor's Office and hope that it will provide clear direction for the county to get its fiscal house in order. This new agreement is a step in the right direction. It better aligns classifications, provides new options for health and dental coverage, and improves on-call pay. On balance, in this challenging period, it is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Seeing no one in the room come forward and seeing none online, I'm going to go back to Supervisor Hashak for a final comment.
Well, this is a question for the CEO. That Mr. Hickey said that that employees knew where the belt could be tightened, and where cost savings could be made. If an employee is out there listening and they have an idea, where do they go? Would they go to the Golden Gate Bridge Initiative people? Would they go to your office? Would they go to a supervisor or what?
CEO Antle, I would certainly encourage them to talk to me directly and or to Deputy CEO Johnson. The other deputies in the office as well are available if they are the liaison for that department. But right now, please, the door's open. Please, willing to listen. We need all the help we can get at this moment.
Right, we want to make sure that those lines of communication are open, so thank you.
Absolutely.
For the information of the board and the public and our employees, our IT department did add a suggestion box button to the top of our website at mendocinocounty.gov that any employee or member of the public could use to provide a suggestion were they not comfortable or wanted to remain anonymous. That is an opportunity for both our employees and the public to use that. And we vote by the button, please. Glenn, did you push?
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Okay, if it's agreeable with our staff, I'd like to just continue to move forward with the, there is no CEO's report today. And then I would be moving on to item 4L, Supervisors Reports regarding board special assignments, standing and ad hoc committee meetings, and other items of general interest. Are there any supervisors that have anything that they wish to update the board? Supervisor Jordy.
Just too briefly, Snow and Clean Power met for the first time in January, so we met last Thursday, and largely just did organizational meeting with assignments and adopt our calendar. And later this month, Supervisors Hashak, McGordy, and I are all on the North Coast Resource Partnership, and we are here in Mendocino County hosting the 8-county group here in Mendocino County. Meets quarterly, primarily focused on water projects. A fraction of state water bond funds go through that group to projects in the 8 counties. And so Supervisor McGordy and I have been working with them on developing the agenda for this this quarterly meeting that's happening in Mendocino County later this month.
Thank you for the update. Supervisor McGordy and then Hashak.
So at the end of December, a new JPA was formed to work with PG&E and assuming the water transfer from the Eel River. It's now called the new Eel Russian River Facility, or NERF is this acronym. And we'll be having our first JPA meeting later this month to plan as part of PG&E's decommission proposal to design and staff and make this facility work. So it's a step in the right direction. A lot of baby steps. It's going to be a long process. Probably, if all goes as well, it may be up to 10 years before we actually see something physically constructed and working. Also happening with water this week is Ukiah Valley Basin Groundwater Sustainability Agency will be looking at coming up with a plan to permanently finance the JPA for managing groundwater, and it's going to be difficult, I can tell you straight away, because the things that the state's asking us for are really quite expensive, and I'm trying to figure out the capacity for us to be able to afford this regulation is going to be very difficult. And as chair of the board, I've already had some very emotional discussions with staff, and we haven't really talked to our stakeholders and other board members yet, but I'm not looking forward to those negotiations. They're going to be very difficult, so we will have to really put our thinking caps on to make this work, because there's really not a lot of water being pumped out of the groundwater. It's around 7,000 acre feet, 5,000 is used by ag, 2,000 is used by municipalities, and there's a suggestion that we may have to spend up to $2 million a year to fulfill the requirements that the state claims are necessary for us to basically ratify our existing groundwater plan and bring it up to the standards they want to see, which I think is excessive. And so I'm not sure how we're going to handle that. I am really heartened that we do have our own hydrologist now on staff here for Mendocino County. Met Laura Garza-Diaz this morning, and looking forward to working with her on all aspects of water, and we had a good conversation yesterday, not only about the needs of the inland, but also of the coast, and and even right down to small property owners who have systems where they have to take surface water, clean it, and store it. There are a surprising number of people in our county that are their own water company, and she plans on working on that and brings great experiences from other parts of North America to our county, and I'm very pleased that she's here. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hashak.
Yeah, in December, we had the Hopland MAC that invited Supervisor Chair Mulherin and myself as representatives of the Great Redwood Trail Agency. And we had a nice discussion about the opportunities and challenges of the Great Redwood Trail for homeowners and community. So I appreciate that conversation. The Round Valley area MAC met on last Wednesday, and certainly a lot of discussion about the Clean California program that implemented a lot of speed bumps on Highway 162. It's the only highway in the state that has speed tables, they call them. And CEO Antle and I experienced those when we went up there in December, and there were quite a few of them. So appreciation to Caltrans for going back to the MAC and saying what needs to be done, and then saying that they were going to remove some of those speed bumps and place them in other places. So that's an ongoing discussion with how they're going to do that, and if the county Department of Transportation can use some of those speed bumps on alternate roads. I did a walkthrough tour with the veterans of the new facility on Thursday. I appreciate the county staff who showed up, and also the veterans for really caring. And the commitment of the county is to make it a place where it feels like a home for them. So it will be a process, but I think there's commitment to making that work. Let's see, the MCOG ad hoc on climate met the other day, Supervisor Jurdy and myself, and we were talking about the renewable energy network and different configuration, or what position what's happening with the configuration of that network. So that will be an ongoing discussion. And then finally, we got word from the California Transportation Commission that the climate adaptation program grant that we'd applied for, the board approved the submission of that grant, and it was for, the number one was the Brook Trails, and the number two was the Redemeyer Road, and we were funded $12 million for Sherwood Road second access and $12 million for the Redemeyer Road. According to Department of Transportation Director Howard DeShiel, that will provide us with the environmental analysis and design part of those programs. So it's the first step. Certainly the $12 million for each of those situations isn't enough to build the road, but it's certainly the first step along the way. And so it will. We're very appreciative of that, and look forward to future discussions about these projects. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, although I had asked, I wasn't extended the invitation to meet with the veterans on Thursday, so I'm sorry that I missed that opportunity to do the walkthrough with them. We are still getting a lot of questions about HAZ materials and where they should go. There is a publication that I've forwarded to you, and am happy to forward again, that shows which HAZ materials can go to the transfer stations. And also, we now have just one waste hauler within our county. So I'm hoping that this streamlines and makes transportation of waste and collection of waste more efficient. And I just wanted to say that I'm excited to be the chair. I think that we have a lot of opportunity for more streamlined agenda processes and more efficient meetings, and I'm really looking forward to this year. And with that, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Chair, if I may really quickly, CEO Antle, this is the last meeting we have with
Oh,
County
thank you
Council.
thank you so much. I apologize. This is the last meeting that we have County Council Christian Curtis with us, and we would just like to thank you for your service to the county. You've been a very diligent county council, and we appreciate all of the work that you've done for us and wish you best in your new endeavors. Did you want to add something?
Just say thank you. I'll just clarify, it's the last open meeting. We actually have a closed session tomorrow, but.
Thank you.
It's been an honor and a privilege. I do appreciate the opportunity to serve the county of Mendocino and its people.
Thank you. We'll adjourn it now. Thank you.
Did we have this?
Yes, there is no CEO report, so we moved on.
Okay.